Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Secure Visa Study and Immigrate to Canada this 2024. Um, to those watchers from the Middle East, good morning. And then in New Zealand, good early evening. Thank you so much for joining us on this information session. Sana po marami po kayong matutunan sa amin. We are here to present to you the process of if you want to study and immigrate to Canada. And we are going to be joined by one of our special guests from FANSHAWE College in London, Canada. First up, sa ating mga viewers. Let me see how many are watching right now. While we're waiting for people to come in and watch, just want to introduce myself. My name is Anna. I am from the Secure Visa team and I am based here in Toronto, Canada. And it's already 12 midnight dito. December 15 na po, 10 days to go before Christmas. So let's see. If you if you are joining us just now, how about give us a thumbs up and please put your name in the comment section and where are you watching us from? So, I am Anna and I'm watching from Toronto. Kayo po, saan po kayo? Let's see. So, now that we are starting our Facebook Live and we're waiting for more people to come and join, I just want to share with you some housekeeping rules. Before we start, hopefully we would like you to unplug from any other type of social media para you can focus on this presentation kasi marami kaming information na i-share sa inyo at hopefully makatulong din ito kung hindi sa inyo, sa inyong mga loved ones or friends who are interested to taking the pathway to studying in Canada. Now, you can take your notes, prepare a pen and paper. As I said earlier, have your spouse or your partner watch with you, or you can also share this current Facebook Live sa mga gustong manood. At even if you're not watching us live, you can watch this recording offline. Thank you for taking the time to watch. So you can use the comment section here. Lagay niyo po yung inyong name and where are you chatting with us from para po malaman natin. Good morning if you are from the Middle East. Good afternoon kung nasa Philippines po kayo at saan po kayo ngayon nanonood sa amin. We have about 21 viewers at the moment. So please click the share button right now and also put a thumbs up in the comments so that we would know that you can hear us loud and clear. Okay. All right. While we're waiting for those comments, type nyo lang po just a chat box. And if you have any questions, let's use the comment section in a professional way. The Secure Visa team is also on standby in the comment section. If you have any questions, you can ask it there. Now, what is the purpose of this presentation? Why are we here presenting to you today? Um, this presentation is for you if you're considering about securing your family's future through migration. However, you need to know about the process and where do you start. Maybe you've been trying your luck before as a student applicant in Canada, but you haven't been accepted. Maybe you all just want to know how the Canada visa works or the student visa pathway works. Maybe you already got refused for your visa before, and then you want to try again and more successfully. And then also at the same time, you've been trying to find a job, applying for a job in Canada, but some employers are not hiring you. So basically this information session is to gather a lot as much data as we can about updates and important things to do to prepare if you're considering about studying in Canada. So again, I want to introduce myself to those who are just watching just now. I am Anna and I am talking to you live from Toronto, Canada. So, and also in the chat box, pwede niyo po bang ilagay kung nasaan po kayo ngayon and where are you watching us from? And just so that I can greet you correctly kung good afternoon ba or good evening. Hello. Okay. Now moving on. Okay, just to be clear, Secure Visa is not a recruitment agency. We do not offer jobs to those who want to migrate in Canada. We are a consulting agency helping aspiring migrants to study and then live permanently in Canada. So if you're looking for a free way to migrate to Canada through a job opening, this presentation is not for you. So let's go on. Disclaimer, there are no shortcuts to migration. As you know, it takes a lot of preparation, hard work, determination, and proper guidance. So it's not always a guarantee that you can get a Canada permanent residency or PR. So what we're sharing with you in this information session is a proof that a student visa is a way to pave your way, is a way to pave your path towards becoming a PR or permanent resident in Canada. Explain namin sa iyo yung process na yun, what you can do to prepare, and then some other of the benefits of being able to work, study and work in Canada. Share namin yan dito today. Now, big question. Does the study to permanent residency pathway really work? A lot of people are asking that dahil marami na nagsasabi sa Facebook Live or Instagram or sa mga vlog. Paano ba ito? So, hopefully we can help explain and give clarity to some of these questions that you may have. Again, if you have the chance, please share this presentation today on your Facebook feed. Tag a friend by putting their name here in the comment section para manood din sila. Malay mo, this is a good information to help them to have their options as they prepare for future plans with the family. Here's a 2022 news release by the former Immigration of Canada minister that they're saying that international students are basically they don't just want the international students to come to Canada just to study. So the idea is for them to gain their skills here and um, to have a lasting contribution to the economy and to the community as a whole. So we don't want you to study, we want you to live here. So that is the approach. That's why, as you can see, Canada is very active in inviting international students and migrants in general to come to Canada kasi it welcomes diversity, not just for Filipino students, actually from all over the world. And I will show you some statistics on why take a international student pathway instead. There are other pathways of moving to Canada, right? But why are we discussing the study to PR pathway? So in this table, you would see that in January to October of 2021, this is post-pandemic, around 97.5% ng mga international students na nag-graduate na sa Canada from their study programs and they applied for PR in Canada already got their permanent residency. So that's a 97.5% success rate. So what was the ingredient there? Nag-aral sila sa Canada and they graduated in a program in Canada and eventually they become eligible to qualify for PR. So that's about 130,000 former students that are now PR approved. So mataas yung statistics yan. As I said, the country continuously approves PR applications on top of continuously inviting more international students to come. Why? Kasi there is a migration target. The country is aiming to further grow its economy by raising its immigration targets of up to 1.5 million new PRs from 2022 to 2025. So at this moment, as we're slowly recovering from the pandemic, so then more and more students are coming in. Now, if you are an international student, your chances of becoming a PR is much better. And I will show you why you would have an advantage if you were a student rather than directly coming to Canada to work. So there's a lot of perks there. And then you can understand the process and why this makes sense. At maintindihan nyo na, okay, gets ko na kung bakit ganun yung type of preparation needed and how it would still be beneficial to you. And me, myself, I can share some information about that kasi na-experience ko rin yan sa pagpunta ko dito sa Canada. Hello, Alski. Sa ating mga watchers, please, can you type your name in the comments below? Balaman ko lang, hello, Anna, we're listening, and then maybe I could give you a shout out and kapag mayroon kayong mga any direct questions, Secure Visa team in the comment section can provide you more information. So stick with us until the end of this information session kasi not only do we have a guest who can explain to us more about studying in Canada through specific programs, explain din namin sa inyo yung process of what does it take to be an international student in Canada and eventually be a PR. And of course, we will share information on how you can get in touch with Secure Visa if you have more burning questions on more personal questions that you want to ask to the team. All right. Okay. Now, here is a three-step process. You would be seeing this slide repeatedly here in our presentation. Hello, Pearl. Okay. Um, the three-step process is study to peer. Step one, study in Canada. So you have to be in a designated learning institution. DLI ang tawag po doon. So there are specific schools that the government of Canada approves to get international students. And only these specific schools or colleges or universities are allowed to take in international students and offer the programs. Now, studying in a program in Canada would take you about 1 year to complete a certificate program, or about 2 years. So some programs have diploma programs. Some programs are more specialized. It could take about 2.5 years or more. Now that's step one. We will repeat this process ulit sa banda huli nitong presentation natin. So listen carefully and I will just go through it, these three steps, and then we'll go in detail in the next slides. After you study in Canada, go on to step two. Once you finish your program, so dapat finish your program, right? Graduate. You can apply for your post-graduation work permit. Now, that's what they call the PGWP. This allows you to stay in Canada and to work even if tapos na yung study program ninyo. Now, I'll explain also from a personal level kung bakit ba maganda magkaroon ng PGWP. Now, after you've used your PGWP and gained some Canadian work experience, you can be more qualified to apply for PR. Now, that leads us to step three, which is applying for the permanent residency once you are eligible. So, there are still eligibility factors to do that. And we'll explain a little bit about that later on. Now, why should you listen to Secure Visa? So, we want to explain that Secure Visa is a team that is experienced the process of studying and migrating. So we are very dedicated to helping our clients. So we don't just describe the process to you. We guide you every step of the way. And our services are tailor fit to your needs, tsaka sa needs na inyong family. So, hi, Villa. Okay, so thank you for tagging your family member. So, makinig kayo, and I'll introduce to you who Secure Visa is and what we can do for you. Now, before I do that, oh, that's me. So I want to describe a little bit about my journey here in Canada. So I was a former international student. Hello, Brian. Hello, Mac. Nice to see you in our chat section. Thank you for your comments. So my name is Anna. I've been with the Secure Visa team as a consultant for nearly 2 years now. I came here in Canada as an international student, and now I am describing to you what are the perks of being an international student and a worker in Canada. Hello, Dominic from Taiwan. So I hope you can bear with me. I'll try to go as fast as I can, pero sana makinig kayo dito sa story ko at sana may matutunan kayo, right? So this is me and this is my family. I arrived here in Canada with my husband and we have 4 kids, 4 dependent children. So we've been living here in Toronto for over 2.5 years now. And at this moment, we are still not yet permanent residents, but I am waiting for that eligibility to qualify for PR. Explain ko din paano ako magko-qualify for PR. Malalaman niyo mamaya through this presentation. Hello from Seoul, Korea, Jefferson. Annyeong. Okay. Okay, this is my timeline. So a lot of people, if you're researching about study international student pathway, people talk about their timeline. So what did they do? What did they do during that process? So in March 2021, we gathered our documents. We prepared financially. Then that is what you need to apply for a study permit. So you submit everything to Immigration Canada online, and then you wait for an approval. In my case, I got the approval. Our family got the approval in April 2021. And then after that, by May 2021, we already flew and arrived here in Toronto. So that was a bit of a parang post-lockdown pa siya. Dito na namin nakuha yung mga COVID vaccines namin. And then at the time when you arrive here in 2021, eh, travel restrictions were still very enforced. So we needed to do a 2 weeks hotel quarantine, and then only essential travel was allowed if you were going internationally. So international students like us considered essential travel yung pagpunta namin dito sa Canada. So that was quite a journey. Let's fast forward to December 2022, which is about 1 year ago, exactly 1 year ago. I graduated from my program. So, just briefly, I took a 2 year postgraduate diploma program in Lambton College of Toronto. I took a business management program. So, katulad sabi ko kanina, some of the programs here in Canada would be about 1 year long or about 2 years long. So that's broken down into 2 semesters per year. So in my case, I took 4 semesters of study, in which one of those semesters included an internship or a work practicum. Now, after I graduated in December 2022, dito na yung sinasabi ko na applying for the PGWP or the Post-Graduation Work Permit. That's you can apply that only after you've completed your program. So I did that in January 2023, and then about 6 months later, we received the approval that I had got my post-graduation work permit. At the same time, it extended the work permit of my husband and the study permit of my dependent children. So that allows us to stay in Canada for another 3 years. So my post-graduation work permit would expire in 2026. So, ito na lang, let me just go through this. So, because now that I am in a PGWP and I'm considered a worker in Canada, and my husband is a worker in Canada with an open work permit, here are some of the perks that that we experience while we live here in Toronto. So, take note, iba-iba po yung mga types of perks that you could get depending on your location, especially the provinces in Canada. So, i-ano ko lang, describe ko lang to quickly why we think that honestly, best decision ever yung kami mag-migrate dito sa Canada. So number one, healthcare. So if you are eligible to work here in Canada and you have been working in Canada, you are entitled to free healthcare courtesy of the government. So not just you as the worker, kasama po din yung mga dependents ninyo. Now, speaking of dependent children, in our case, so we had 4 children, all of them are able to study in elementary and high school for free. So kung kayo po, ang range ng mga age ng inyong children now is 4 years old to about 18 or 19 years old, you can bring them to Canada and they can study in the public schools for free. You can also get tax benefits and refunds. So this is depending on the type of income and type of work that you do. You may be eligible to receive those benefits. And then speaking of government benefits, nandito naman din yung meron kaming pension na receive, employee insurance, and child benefits. So child benefits is sort of like an allowance that we get from the government because we are raising children here. So that those are computed by the Canada Revenue Agency, or aka BIR ng Canada. It's computed based on the taxes that you pay as a worker. So take note, these perks we only receive because we are working here in Canada. And again, iba-iba po ang eligibility for these. Hindi pare-pareho sa lahat ng tao at hindi po pare-pareho sa lahat ng mga provinces. And again, if you're also working full-time, you'll have other benefits from your employers, such as extended health insurance, and then other discounts from stores, etc. Challenges. So again, hindi naman ganun super kadali mag-migrate. And as I told you, it was a process. Kami as a family, marami kaming na-prepare bago kami makarating dito. So nung nandito na kami, well, to be honest, wala kaming mga relatives. So, wala kaming helpers na so much that you are used to that back home, di ba? Now we have to learn to be independent. But it was a good learning experience for everyone, not just for me and my husband, but also for my children. So another thing, fast fact, finding a job is not as quick as expected. Hindi totoo yung sinasabi nila, oh, pagdating mo dito, makahire ka kagad. Well, best case scenario, yes, but in reality, it will take some time. So when you arrive here, don't rush. You need to prepare because you need to fire up your resume, fix your resume, fix your LinkedIn profile, attend as many interviews as you can, gain connections, and of course, learn about the work system here. So getting hired is a process then. So be patient. It takes time. And then another thing is adjusting to the cost of living. So it is a bit expensive to live in a Western country. So that's one. So you kind of changing your mindset from pesos, converting it to Canadian dollar. So that was one of the adjustments you need to do, right? Hello, Anjo. Thank you for watching. And again, at this point, because we are in between the PR process still, we're worried about ano ba gagawin namin moving forward. So because of that, I mean, we've gone through also watching a lot of information online. We've consulted with also immigration lawyers and immigration consultants. What we also learned, like people have different experiences and views, not just about immigration, but meron ding mga different views about culture in general, 'di ba? Katulad ng na-mention ko sa start ng presentation, Canada is very diverse. There's so many nationalities here. So you kind of learn how to deal, iba-iba sila, iba-iba sila ng lahi. So that's really a very good lesson, life lesson din na, you know, hindi tayo pare-pareho, we're not equal, but we have to treat each other with respect, 'di ba? And acceptance. No, speaking of yung others, 'di ba? Iba-iba din nga ang idea ng mga tao about immigration. Hello, Tina. Hello, Anjo. Thank you for your comments. So, then what do we do if you're not really sure about, immigration processes? So let me jump towards when did secure visa come into my life, while I was here in Canada. So back in November 2021, my husband and I were guesting in a secure visa podcast hosted by the founders of secure visa, Aina and JM, which we will learn a little bit more about them later. um, so we talked about, the migration story. Nag-share kami ng experiences namin as being a student and moving from the Philippines to a different country. Kami moving to Canada, Aina and JN moving to New Zealand. Ano yung mga experiences nila? So there were challenges, right? Katulad ng nasabi ko kanina. So, really quickly, before they got successful, they also tried applying to be migrants here in Canada. However, they didn't have enough points to be able to gain work permits, and they were not highly skilled professionals. So some of those were the requirements back then. Now, they were meron din silang agency na kinausap before. They wasted some money because hindi naman natuloy yung process sa kanila to go to Canada. Eventually, they tried applying for New Zealand resident visa. Now, that entails having to find a job in New Zealand to be able to migrate, right? And then at that point, they still also try to apply for skilled jobs in New Zealand, but they do not meet the skill factors as required by most employers in New Zealand. Now, in New Zealand, there is such a thing as they call study to residence pathway. Now, if you want to come to New Zealand, you don't immediately need to be tied to a job. You can do the study to residence pathway. And that kind of aligns with what we're talking about here sa Canada. Big factor ba ang age, Lee? Tingnan nyo, bata ba ako o matanda? So, actually, that's gonna be discussed also by our school representative. You know what? You'll be glad to know, wala pong age limit if you want to study in Canada. However, if you're talking about factoring in terms of points towards PR, age is considered. But I'll go through that in a while. But thank you for asking that question. Now, going back to the study to residence pathway, Aina and JN, as the founders of Secure Visa, found that there is an opportunity to help aspiring migrants para hindi nila ma-experience yung the same hardships that they went through when they were going to New Zealand. So, ito yung mga napansin nila na other international students in New Zealand, nakarating nga sila sa New Zealand, pero marami silang mga different experiences. Merong iba was given a wrong advice, did not give the right consultation and aftercare support pag darating nila sa New Zealand. And then maybe they were given a school and enrolled sila, but they had the wrong program that is not suited to their qualifications. At the same time, students were struggling financially. They seem so unprepared when they already migrated, right? And financially, can you please take note of that? Kasi pag-uusapan din natin, financially, isa yun sa mga biggest questions na tinatanong sa amin dito sa Secure Visa. Magkano po ba? So, i-explain namin sa inyo yan later on. So, please listen closely. So, more on how the struggles of international students was experienced and seen firsthand by Aina and JM. They found that a lot of people end up just going home back to the Philippines. Some of them do not complete their programs, and some of them do not even find their jobs, right? So at this point, this is where Secure Visa Consultancy Services was born. So in 2018, uh, we already they already found a way that this agency could assist those aspiring migrants, whether they want to come to New Zealand or Canada, and eventually even Australia. Now I'll talk about the services later on. Let me go back to Aina and Jay, and this is them. We will introduce them, and here they are. They have been currently living in New Zealand for 7 years now. So ano na sila, New Zealand citizen na po sila. So they started first through the study pathway, and they got their work experience, and they got the PR in New Zealand, and now they got their citizenship in New Zealand. So here they are with their family. Now, the Secure Visa team is based in Manila, and here they are. So, we are a dedicated team of education specialists that each of us have a step in the process to help
aspiring migrants who want to study and take that study to PR pathway to Canada. And actually, you would be interested to know that the Secure Visa team is not just trained, but we actually, a lot of us, have experienced this same pathway of migrating to a different country. Here are the team members. And we actually have team members who are also based in New Zealand. Now, they have also gone through the study to residence pathway, and here they are. So, our team is based in the Philippines. We have a team based in New Zealand. So, we're helping a lot of those who want to come through different avenues. Um, we are able to support them. Now, this is the Metro Manila office of Secure Visa. It is located near the Mall of Asia and the address seen below. Now, please take note that the Secure Visa team is in a work from home setup. So everything is remote setup. But if for special events and periodic meetings, the team comes to the office to be in person. If you have an appointment or you would want to set an appointment to come to the office and meet the team, you would have to communicate with us through online first. And that is when you can drop by the office. So remember, the Secure Visa team is in a remote setup. So all of our correspondences are done online. If you wish to see us in person, you would have to book an appointment, showing with you some credentials from the SEC and the BIR and business permits. So I'll just go through this really quickly. All right. Now, I was talking about how are we getting guidance and training and learning about the immigration processes in Canada and New Zealand. So we are partnered with immigration experts. So we have our regulated Canadian immigration consultant or RCIC, and we also have an immigration lawyer in New Zealand. So they provide advice and they actually help all of our clients to vet their documents to check everything until they are finally submitted and they are approved. So as you can see, we don't just, you know, um, tell you online that we have this type of service. We actually know our stuff. We walk the walk, we talk the talk, and we are backed by experts in this industry. So as I said, I'm just showing this to you. Hindi lang kami basta-bastang agency with no real experience. And like, are we just like some virtual thing that you're watching online? Actually, no. Secure Visa is actually, we are for real, legit. Ito, I'm showing you some of our clients that we have been welcoming over the past years. Some of these clients have already arrived in New Zealand. Nagsastudy na sila. Some of them have arrived in Canada. Nagsastudy na rin sila. You can see here they are being welcomed by Aina and JN. And then some of them are solo applicants, some of them are married couples, some of them have children. So as you can see, napakarami pa niyan. Let me go through these. For one of the things that maybe sets Secure Visa apart from others is that when you arrive to your country of destination, you're not alone. You would still feel the support of Secure Visa. Dati, you're just talking to us online, right? But then when you arrive at your country, which is actually very important, how do you settle down? How do you adjust? What kind of information do you need to, hindi lang yung pag-prepare to apply for the visa, right? To prepare yourselves to actually living here. That's part of the strongest supports that Secure Visa can offer you. All right. Oh, more. That's more. Clients in Canada, nandiyan din ako. Na-meet na namin ang aming mga clients sa airport and then we've seen them settle down very nicely in their communities, being welcomed by their relatives. So hopefully, kayo na rin yung mga susunod na malalagay namin dyan sa picture album na to. All right. Now, there are 4 reasons why studying in Canada is a popular way, hindi lang popular, effective way to get PR status, and then how to increase what they call the CRS score, comprehensive ranking system score. I'll go through these 4 reasons, and then we can talk about educational options. Then after the educational options, we'll talk about how can Secure Visa support you if you're deciding to take this pathway? Number one, post-graduation work permit. Bakit ba maganda mag-aral dito? Kasi you get a PGWP. Like me, I have my PGWP because I have completed my program. So that's the first component there, right? Complete your studies and then be eligible to receive your PGWP. Now, having a PGWP, na-mention ko na yung mga perks. If I live in Ontario and I live in Toronto, meron akong mga benefits, right? Now, You can work for any Canadian employer, work 40 hours a week or more, and work anywhere in Canada. So hindi ka nakalimit sa one single employer. Kahit saan pwede po kayong mag-apply. Now, with enough Canadian working experience, so kailangan mag-work kayo for at least a year to gain that Canadian work experience and explain kung bakit siya importante. You can eventually apply for PR or permanent residency. More on the PGWP. Let me go through this really quickly so I could go to reason two, how to get it. So sabi ko nga, mag-aral, graduate. So the DLIs are those colleges and universities that are authorized by the Canadian government to offer programs to students. Now, paano ba maging longest yung possible duration ng PGWP mo? We recommend that you at least finish a 2-year program. But as I said, some programs are a year. Some programs can be more than a year. And our guest from our guest school will explain more about that later on. Now, how do I apply to for PR during PGWP? So we're at that crucial step now. So after studying, you gain that PGWP, which allows you to work for up to 3 years and stay in Canada for that period of time with your family. And that is during that time you are gaining your Canadian work experience. Key ingredient yan, work experience, right? Now that you have work experience, you gain more CRS points or your comprehensive ranking system points. And this allows you to be more eligible to apply to permanent residency pathways as listed here. So maraming immigration pathways ang Canada. If you are a skilled worker, example, you have been working in different industries such as IT, health, education, engineering, iba-iba. There are certain ranks that you can gain and more points that you can gain. There are also skilled trades. If you are certified in a special skilled trade, example is electrician, plumbing, welding, etc. So there's also a pathway for you because that's a special trade. Kailangan ng Canada yung mga ganong types of abilities ng mga migrants. And then, there's Canadian experience class. As I said, if you've gained enough work experience, so dapat a year or more, that allows you to qualify to be a PR through Canadian experience class. And then also based on different provinces, you get points by becoming a provincial nominee. So it dependent po yan sa inyong location where you live and where you studied and where you graduated. All right. Now, to increase your CRS score, ito yung sinasabi ko na comprehensive ranking system na ginagamit ng Immigration Canada to determine sino ang mga i-invite nila to become PR. So sabi nga natin, get that Canadian qualification or study in Canada, graduate, get that diploma I was telling you about, get that certificate I was telling you about, then gain your work experience, which you are going to get through the PGWP, and eventually you gain valuable points that will boost up your CRS or comprehensive ranking system score. Now, if you have studied in Canada and worked in Canada, mas mataas ang CRS points mo versus someone who was hired outside of Canada and then nag-apply ng work dito, di ba? So, mas qualified ka sa kanila. So, taas ang points. That's why, it's much harder to get into Canada by applying for a job. Like, it's very, very, chances are very slim. That's why the pathway is what we are discussing today. Now, reason number 2, why the study to permanent residency pathway is a good way to go because you can work while studying. If you're an international student, you're allowed to work for about 20 hours per week part-time. Now you can earn money, gain a little bit of experience, and gain connections with your employers. I think this is very important because as a student, of course, wala ka pa masyadong kilalang mga employers. If you are having a part-time work, you can gain connections with your employers. Eventually, they can absorb you into a company after you've graduated. So and then number 3, in my case, I was able to bring my family as being an international student here in Canada. So if you have a partner, whether you are married, you're a live-in partner, or even same-sex partner, you are qualified to bring your spouse and partner to Canada, and he or she will be under a open work permit. Hindi niya po kailangan ng job offer para makarating dito. Kaya nga siya open work permit kasi any employer pwede siyang ma-hire. So that is one of the benefits kasi you are the international student and you need your spouse or your partner to support you, not just financially, but physically and emotionally. So it helps na meron kang katuwang pagdating mo dito sa Canada. And again, while you're studying, your partner also gains valuable work experience, which can be very useful in applying for PR. Now, as in the case of having dependent children, um, you can bring your dependent children. Like in my case, we have four children between that age is of 5 to 19. They can get free education in the public schools here in Canada. Now, if you're applying for PR, kasama ng dependents mo. If you are approved, then your dependents are also approved for PR. So if you're an OFW, I think you imagine na pag malayo kayo sa inyong family, like how do I build memories with my kids? Like I'm working far, malayo sila, nasa Pinas sila. But if you're here in Canada, you are working here and you are together here, kasama mo sila. So you can guide them and then be as a family together. In that great. All right. Okay. Let me go on to the next slide. Give me a second. Okay. Now, yung ano yung duration ng visa ng partner and the dependent? So it should be the same as the principal applicant, which is the study permit holder. So yung visa duration ko is as long as my program, ganun din yung visa ng aking family. Now, kapag nag-graduate na ako, anong type of visa meron sila? Ako may PGWP. Ano yun sa kanila? It's just an extension of their current permits, which is for my spouse is open work permit and study permits for the children. Now, reason number 4, I think ito yung parang sa mga nagtatanong na, okay, so what do I expect? Why is studying to PR a good way to go? Because it's the fastest way to move to Canada. Sabi ko nga, chances are so slim if you want to just apply for a job and wait for the job to call you and to come here, you know, you can fly to Canada in just 6 months or less if your requirements are complete, if you're qualified, if you're well prepared enough. That is the fastest way to move to Canada. Now, speaking of moving to Canada, and I've always been so excited to introduce whenever we have guests here at our Facebook Live session. Saan naman ako pwede mag-aral kung gusto ko talaga maging international student sa Canada? And with that, let's open the floor to Miss Ina Francesca Dizon, the team lead for FANSHAWE College in London, Canada. Hi, Ina. Hello. You are on
Oh,
mute. Okay.
yeah, sorry. Hi, Anna. Hi, everyone who's joining our live stream for today. So I hope you guys got a really good information from what Anna presented. And yun nga, student pathway is one of the easiest and probably most grabbed opportunity for anyone who's aiming to really migrate to Canada. So I think my presentation, will be very insightful for you in terms of where to study and how can Fanshawe College, our institution, can be of benefit of you if you wish to study with us. Siguro we
Okay.
can start.
All right. Take it away, Ina.
All right, next slide, please. Okay, so again, my name is Ina, and I'm the team lead for Philippines. And basically, this is the agenda for today, or the flow of the presentation, especially when we're talking about our school and the study options at Fanshawe College. So Fanshawe College has two campuses or two cities. So we have London and Toronto, and I'm also going to share with you some information about our school, the programs that you can choose from, the student services that you can get if you're an international student at Fanshawe, and of course, the application requirements. Next slide, please. Okay, so first thing or first city that Fanshawe is present is London City. So London City is 2 hours away from Toronto Airport, and this is the main entry point for many of our students, especially if you're coming into Fanshawe College. So we're also known as the Forest City. So as you may have seen in the slide, so meron tayong parang business district. So that's in downtown area of London. But across London City, marami tayong open spaces. So it's a really good breather for, especially for Filipinos who are very accustomed to the city life, probably nasa Metro Manila kayo or in Cebu. So when you come here in London, maninibago kayo kasi very laid back yung lifestyle. We're also known as the city of music. So if you are a person na very fun into attending concerts and attending festivals, we have a lot of festivals and concerts all year round. So there's only one UNESCO certified city of music in Canada, and London City is one of them. We're also known as one of the largest and one of the fastest growing cities in Canada, and that's because of migration, especially for international students. So in London City, may dalawang schools. One of them is Western University, that is very popular for domestic students. So they're offering bachelor's degree programs and master's and PhD. And the second biggest institution in London City is FANSHAWE College. So in FANSHAWE College, we have a variety of credentials that you can apply to. We also have domestic students, and at the same time, we have international students. So just to share with you, for Philippines, yung mga Filipino students na pumuputang FANSHAWE College since 2019 were ranked one of the top countries or market kung saan nag-aaral yung mga international students at FANSHAWE College. So probably when you go to the program, when you go to a campus, you will meet a lot of Filipino students. Of course, these international students, they bring their families, they bring their spouse with them, and many of them are still staying in London City because they want to keep yung very affordable na accommodation. Andito din yung jobs nila. And eventually, probably like Anna, after studying in Sarnia, she moved to Toronto. And that's because of the PGWP. Because in PGWP, hindi ka naman very fixed. Kung saan ka nag-aral, dapat doon ka lang mag-stay during your PGWP. You can go anywhere else in your PGWP after studying in London, but many of our students are still trying to stay in London kasi andun yung job opportunities nila. We're also known as the center of development in southwestern part of Ontario. So London City is in the southwestern part of the province of Ontario, and we are an administrative city. So we have a lot of industries that are present in London, and ito yung mga nagsusupply ng mga employees and manpower for nearby cities in the southwestern part. Next slide, please. So living in London, in terms of accommodation, of course, you're coming into Canada, probably you have relatives or minsan talaga gusto nyo lang maging independent and you want to start your new life or a new adventure in Canada. So if you're looking into a place wherein you can settle as a newcomer, probably you might need to consider a community or an area that is outside like big cities. So in terms of London City, our accommodation is 40% more affordable as compared to, let's say, rental or accommodation in Greater Toronto Area or GTA. We have we have also a medium-sized city. We have 530,000 in population. And like I said, growing na rin talaga yung Filipino community, not only for international students, but we also see a lot of immigration sa mga permanent residents and Canadians na nagre-retire in London City. If also you're traveling with your kids, we have 4 public school boards and 19 registered private schools in London so that you can send your kids to school while you're studying, because that's part of the advantages of studying in Canada. Free yung education ng mga anak ninyo. Thames Valley School Board, that's the second biggest school board in the province of Ontario, and they have a lot of partner schools in London. And of course, since center nga kami ng development in terms of in southwestern part of Ontario, very accessible talaga yung mga industries and companies. So some of our students, they're bringing their spouse. So their spouse are under OWP or open work permit. So while the student and the family is staying in London, yung iba sa kanila, they're trying to move around the southwestern part of Ontario, yung OWP for work. And then just go back to London City to stay with their kids, and then balik ulit sila every day. So it's very accessible within the southwestern part of Ontario. Highway lang naman yan. You take a drive or you take a public transportation. Next slide, please. The second city that FANSHAWE is present in would be in Toronto. So of course, when we talk about Canada, the first city that pops into your mind is Toronto. Minsan pag tinatanong yung mga students, what's the capital of Canada? Instead of saying Ottawa, they are saying Toronto. So it's the largest city in Canada. It resembles like New York City. So it's a cultural and business capital of Canada. And also, I think just a good information that I'd like to share with you that in Toronto, meron tayong downtown where FANSHAWE College is located, yung campus namin. But we also have Greater Toronto area. So Greater Toronto area is like Metro Manila. So I can be from Metro Manila, but specifically in Manila, or specifically in Makati, specifically in Pasig, or let's say in Mandaluyong. So parang ganun yung resemblance ng Greater Toronto area. We have 25 urban and suburban and rural communities. So, but generally, we have Greater Toronto area. So the place that you're seeing in the slide is actually in downtown Toronto. Itong CN Tower, it's very near the campus of FANSHAWE College in downtown Toronto. Next slide, please. So in terms of living in Toronto, of course, it would be very competitive in terms of accommodation rental. And that's the reason why when we are asking students if they want to study in our Toronto campus, we would ask them if they have relatives who can sponsor them for, let's say, accommodation or transportation para at least matulungan naman sila at some sort in terms of living expenses. Or if they have the funds or they're financially ready to study and stay in a very urban city such as Toronto, of course, and of course yung program nila is offer there, we won't stop them. So I think ito talaga yung one of the most common concerns na somehow gina-guide namin yung students. So in terms of yung financial stability and financial readiness nila, we have to expect that if you're going to study in Toronto, which is an urban city, you have to expect that living cost would be higher, such as, for example, you're going to live in Makati or BGC or Pasig or Ortigas area rather. So central business district siya, so you can expect higher accommodation rental compared to outside those areas. 6.5 population, and we have a very established Filipino community in Toronto. And probably sila na rin talaga yung nag-urge sa inyo to come to Canada because they can sponsor you at some sort. Like London City, we have district school boards, and one of the biggest school boards in Toronto is the Toronto District School Board. Hindi lang nakalagay dito, but dun sa last bullet would be yung movement around Greater Toronto area. So we have interconnected transportation, even if you are living in downtown Toronto, and sorry, you are taking a program in our downtown Toronto campus, but you live, let's say, in Brampton or in Mississauga. We have interconnected transportation within GTA so that it will be accessible to you guys as well and not live directly in downtown. Next slide, please. So, in terms of the campus or in terms of the city, ano ba talaga yung kailangan nyo ipag-decide? So, you have to consider three things. You have to determine what type of lifestyle do you want in Canada. So, if you are accustomed to here in the Philippines na city yung lifestyle mo and you want the same lifestyle in Canada, then you might want to consider Toronto campus of FANSHAWE College. But if you want a more laid back and of course in terms of you laid back and very different siya from what you are accustomed to here in the Philippines. You want a more suburban lifestyle, then you can consider London City. Second factor that you have to consider is your funds. So again, living expenses, our tuition fee is the same for all of our campuses, but in terms of living expenses, doon talaga nagdo-draw out ng big difference. And also the program availability. This is the last factor. So many of our programs are offered in our London campus, which is our main campus in London, but we also have a few programs that are only offered in Toronto campus. So if you are looking into like health sciences, the very specific, or let's say media and whatnot, you have to choose London because we don't have those programs in our Toronto campus. Next slide, please. Okay, so now let me introduce to you our school. So FANSHAWE College is the sixth largest college in the province of Ontario. We have 21,000 full-time students, and 11,000 of them are international, representing 153 different countries. We are also a leader in work-integrated learning, which is very different from nakasanayan natin dito sa Philippines na very traditional. We're in 8 o'clock to 5 p.m., 8 o'clock a.m. to 5 p.m. nakaupo lang tayo and we're just listening to our professors all day. And we're very much swamped with assignments, with homeworks, and we have a lot of exam or tests. In Canada, in Fanshawe College, it will be very different. Meron pa rin tayo mga lectures, especially if your program has subjects or courses that are fundamentals or theoretical, but majority of your program or the time that you're spending in your program will be on hands-on learning. So marami tayong opportunities for experiential learner or hands-on learning wherein you might have a co-op or a cooperative education or a placement or internship in your program. Meron din tayong mga mentorship and also meron din tayong capstone projects na very collaborative and can also be a foot in the door with for you guys if you want to pitch your proposal to a client or get a seed funding after that so that you can start your own business. So we have a lot of those opportunities in many of our programs. And of course, PGWP eligibility. So I think Anna already explained to you the importance of PGWP. So in terms of our programs, all of our programs that we offer to international students in any of our campuses are eligible for postgrad work permit. Also, we have different we have campuses. So we have London in Toronto. We also have regional campuses that is near London City, which is Woodstock, Simcoe, and St. Thomas. Next slide, please. So in terms of the programs, we have 200 plus programs across 17 areas of studies. And mostly for Filipino students, they would usually apply to a program that is very much related to their education back in college and also and or their work credential. And in terms of program recommendation, I would highly suggest that you book an appointment or a consultation with Secure Visa team so that they can assess your profile because as an international student, dalawa yung process na kailangan yung pagdaanan for you to be in Canada. So the first one is the school admissions. So Secure Visa is one of our education partners in the Philippines. They know our processes. They have access to our application portal. So in terms of school credentials or school admission requirements, they would know. They would recommend you a program na makakakuha ka ng letter of acceptance. The second process that you have to undergo as an international student is the study permit. So in Canada, wala po tayong interview. So you just have to provide all of the documents and Secure Visa can help with you doon sa process na yon as well. So in terms of that one, you have to explain why are you going to study this program. So hindi necessarily pag nakuha ka ng LOA, kaya mo na makakuha ng study permit application because in the study permit application, it's the IRCC. So you have to really explain and make and convince them that you're really eligible to study this program and you're definitely genuine in terms of your interest in studying in Canada. So for Secure Visa, they are our education partners. And they're also, and the good thing as well is that they can help you in both processes, school admissions and study permit application. So again, I would highly suggest that you book a consultation with them so that they can help you with both processes. And in terms of our programs, we do accept students from old curriculum. If they are straight from K-12 and for mature students, we don't have any age limit in terms of admitting you in the program at FANSHAWE College. As long as you have the complete documents, we're good. And also, in terms of the application, we don't have any application deadline. As long as the program is open, we can issue your letter of acceptance. So if you're looking into a program, let's say for 2024 or for 2025 intakes, I would suggest na after this live stream, after this webinar, you book a consultation with Secure Visa para ma-start na natin yung process nyo for studying in Canada. Next slide, please. So, sige, next slide, please. So, in terms of our student services, of course, when you get your study permit approval, the next thing that you have to plan is your travel to Canada. So, in terms of traveling to Canada, if you don't have any relatives or friends who can pick you up in the airport, we have our arrival service called FANSHAWE Cares. So, this is a free shuttle service for students arriving in Canada for the first time. So this transportation will be from Toronto Airport to the drop-off points in London City and regional campuses such as Simcoe, St. Thomas, and Woodstock. Aside from this one, we also have a partnership with Philippine Airlines, wherein you, the international student at Fanshawe, together with the two maximum dependents, can get a discount if you're going to book a direct flight via PAL or Philippine Airlines. Next slide, please. Also, in terms of academic support, you have to really prioritize your studies over anything else, over part-time job or whatnot. So, in terms of the materials that you might need in the program, we have free access for all students sa lahat ng applications ng Adobe Cloud and Microsoft. So, if you're planning to bring or if you're planning to buy your laptop in Canada, hindi mo na kailangan bumili ng Microsoft na license because it's free for if you're a FANSHAWE student. And also, if you are very much familiar with Adobe apps, so one app might cost like I think $20. So there's only two Adobe campuses in Canada. So one of them is FANSHAWE College. That means lahat ng Adobe app na pwede mo ma-download, it's free. So you can just log in using your username at FANSHAWE College, or you can go to IT to help them install that app in your computer. Also, if ever your program has a specific software, especially if you're going to study, let's say, IT program or construction project management, we have several software that you might need to download in your program. You don't have to pay for that one because it's free of charge. Install it in your computer. Also, for academic assistance, we have the Learning Center. We have program coordinators and academic advisors. So we usually tell this to students during pre-departure orientation na wag tayong mahiyang magtanong, and also to ask for help if ever we're doing poorly in terms of academics, because during the midterm you would professors would usually show you yung academic standing mo. So if you're applying for let's say a scholarship, you're eyeing for a scholarship, or gusto meron kang nahabol na grade, at least you have an idea of na kung ilang points pa yung kailangan mong makuha so that you can meet those grades and apply for scholarships. And of course, you have to be very diligent in terms of your studies as well. So medyo matagal na rin tayong hindi nakapag uh, hindi nakapag-study, especially if you're a mature student coming into Canada. So we have refresher course. If you have any specific academic assistance that you need in a subject, meron tayong mga tutors sa Learning Center that you can book an appointment, or you can actually apply as a tutor. Kasi marami din tayong mga non-English speaking students in Fanshawe studying EAP or ESL. And if you are well versed with English and you have, let's say, let's say, uh, experience in terms of teaching, pwede ka din mag-apply as a tutor sa Learning Center. Next slide, please. So in terms of scholarships, we do have scholarships that we offer to international students, especially Filipinos. So for Philippines, we are considered as an SDS country or student direct stream. So yan ay one of the options for you in terms of study permit application. So if you're going to apply through SDS for a study permit, kahit hindi po requirement ng school such as FANSHAWE yung IELTS, if you're going to apply for a study permit through SDS, you have to take IELTS. So if you plan to take IELTS, academic, and you meet the scores over here, you can apply for scholarships. So you can get either 1,000 or 1,500 Canadian dollars. Apart from the scholarship, the English language scholarship, we also have a lot of scholarships available to international students. So you can apply to these scholarships as soon as you finish your first semester of your program. So usually kasi merit-based siya. So yung GPA mo in the first semester, that's the requirement that you have to submit to apply for scholarships. And usually scholarships would range from around 500 to 2,000 Canadian dollars. Next slide, please. Okay, so in terms of one of the assistance that we also can provide to you would be career services. So we have this called FANSHAWE Works. So FANSHAWE Works is a 2-day workshop that is happening prior to your prior to the start of your intake. So bakit ba namin binibigay sa inyo yung information about about working in Canada even before you start your intake? Because we want you to be prepared so that by the time that you've started your program, doon lang kasi kayo magiging eligible to work part-time. Even if you come to Canada 1 month or 2 months earlier, hindi kayo pwedeng mag-apply and mag-start ng job, ng part-time job, because you can only start your part-time job as soon as you start your program. So, by the time that you start your program, tapos dun ka palang stress out in terms of paano mag-apply ng part-time job this first week nyo ng class. So at least this FANSHAWE Works, we can help you prior to that one. So during the FANSHAWE Works, we can help you create your Canadian resume, because the resume that we are accustomed to here in the Philippines is very different in Canada. Also, if you don't have a LinkedIn account, pwede ka namin tulungan in terms of creating a LinkedIn account, because in Canada, many employers are actually scouting through LinkedIn. For example, I applied in FANSHAWE College through LinkedIn. So if you don't have a LinkedIn account and you plan to apply in Canada, then of course you have to create that one. If you have one, we can help you stand out in terms of your LinkedIn profile. Also, during the FANSHAWE Works, we are providing testimonials and a panel from employers as well. Doon nila i-explain sa inyo yung mga requirements and also mga expectations nila if you are, let's say, applying for a part-time job in Canada while you're studying. Also, in terms of our graduate employment rate, which is one of the key performance indicators na very important for institutions in Canada, we have 86.7, which means our students within 6 months after graduation are hired or they have jobs already. And this is the highest in terms of um, the whole province across large colleges in the province of Ontario. So we are very proud of that one. And we have a really good team from the Career and Employment Services Center, which is which can really help you in terms of looking for a job and helping you prepare for that job. So we have 2 career fairs that is done all year round. We have a lot of activities and events going on. If ever your program has a placement or a co-op, meron kayong consultant specifically for those programs, and tutulungan talaga namin kayo to check if you have a work permit, if meron ba tayo mga police vulnerable checks, and we can also introduce to you to the list of partners na pwede mong applyan for placement and for co-op. And of course, in terms of, let's say, you applying for any job, be it part-time or full-time job, we have a dashboard that is regularly updated. And itong dashboard na to, all of the job postings are vetted by our FANSHAWE Career and Employment Service Center. So everything is legit. Wala pong scam doon sa mga job postings na to. So we post part-time, summer, and full-time job offerings. And itong dashboard na to, it's actually from employers looking for FANSHAWE students. So, talagang very customized itong dashboard na to. And the good thing about this dashboard is that if you're a FANSHAWE student, you can access it. If merong opening na pwede yung OWP mo, you can share it to your OWP. And if you ever you've graduated already at FANSHAWE College, you still have access to this dashboard after 5 years. So even if you are done with your program and you're in your PGWP, but you still want to, let's say, get the service of our Career Employment Service Center, we can help you through that dashboard. Next slide, please. So we also have the International Center. So this is probably the first team that you will encounter when you start your program at FANSHAWE College. So we have RISIA and Student Life Coordinators. So if ever you have questions about your study permit, if you have questions about your study, your PGWP, or let's say your status in general in Canada, we have immigration advisors who can help you. We also have the Arrivals and Settlement Coordinator. So it's sila yung nag-run ng FANSHAWE Works na arrival service namin. If ever you want to apply for a student exchange, we have the exchange coordinator. For admissions, we have the admissions team in Canada, and we have the recruitment team. So the recruitment team, most of us are based in our home country. So for example, I'm the recruitment representative of FANSHAWE College in the Philippines. So I'm based here in Manila, but we go to Canada every now and then to help you and of course to welcome you in the start of the program. So for example, this photo that you see on the screen, it's actually taken last September 2023 when we started and welcome our students for that intake. Next slide, please. Aside from that one, we also have digital ambassadors. So if you're very much curious in terms of, let's say, ano ba yung life ng FANSHAWE student, paano nila binabalance yung work and also student life nila, um, ano yung mga advantages. For example, if you're going to study in London or in Toronto, or let's say if ever they have families, paano ba sila nakapag-adjust into their life in Canada. So we have digital ambassadors. These are current students in FANSHAWE College, and many of them are actually Filipinos. Iba sa kanila single, yung iba sa kanila with OWP, yung iba sa kanila with families, both in London and also um, in Toronto campus. So if ever you're interested, you can scan this QR code. You can take a screenshot or take a photo of it. Para later on, you can connect with them. So you can chat with our current students or digital ambassadors, and they can help you para at least magkaroon kayo ng peace of mind in terms of your questions about living in Canada and studying at FANSHAWE College. Next slide, please. So tuition and fees, so this is very important. In terms of program tuition and fees for 1 year, it ranges from 16 to 18,000 Canadian dollars. So usually 1 year program at FANSHAWE consists of 2 semesters, and each semester is 4 months long. So wag kayong magugulat na ang 1 year program in Canada is only 8 months. So even if you only study for 8 months, you will still get a 1 year credential. And in terms of the tuition fee, it's already inclusive of health insurance. So our health insurance is very much comprehensive. It can it will cover your hospitalization, medical procedures, even dental and vision. That's part of your insurance at FANSHAWE College. And of course, in terms of transportation, if you're going to study in London, yung tuition fee nyo is inclusive already of a bus pass. So that will be a really that will save you a lot of money because normally you have to spend around 100 to 120 per month in terms of transportation, especially bus. So it's already free of charge. You don't have to pay for any time for the bus rides that you have to undergo through going to the campus, going to your part-time job, going to the supermarket and whatnot. So libre na po siya 24/7 even on holidays and weekends for London FANSHAWE students. But if you're going to study in our Toronto campus, our partner in Toronto, which is ILAC, they can provide a discounted transportation for you. So we can offer um, discounted rates for students. They will issue you a certification letter that you are a FANSHAWE student in Toronto, and you can apply for that discount for your transportation. For books and other expenses or equipment, it's around 500 to 2,000 Canadian dollars. So this is not included in your tuition fee. So this is an add-on that you have to pay for. But usually during the first 2 weeks of classes, you would know what are the requirements that you need. especially if you need to purchase some books, you need to purchase some uniform or equipment in your program. Next slide, please. So I think this is my last slide. So in terms of requirements, if you're going to apply for a post-secondary program, you have to submit both high school and college TORs and diplomas and your passport. If you're going to apply for a graduate certificate program, you have to submit only your college TOR and diploma and your passport. So we don't need a red ribbon or a West certified document. As long as you have the clear scanned copy of your documents, we can process your letter of acceptance. We also don't require IELTS or any English test. Even the certificate of medium of instruction for Filipino students during application, except for two programs, namely pharmacy technician and occupational therapy. Ito lang yung dalawang programs na nagre-require ng IELTS for Filipino students, but any other programs such as pre-health, practical nursing, palliative care, gerontology, other programs such as business, tourism, hospitality, construction, and also media and automotive or aviation, hindi nyo na kailangan mag-submit ng IELTS. So if by now, inisip nyo, yung school ko ba matagal mag-issue ng documents, then you better request it as soon as possible so that by the time that you are that you already have a decision in terms of the school and also the program that you want to study in Canada, ready na yung mga documents ninyo. Also, I think as a holiday gift, if you're going to apply through Secure Visa after this webinar and you're going to study at FANSHAWE College, we can waive your 100 CAD application fee. So that's 4,000 pesos off of the things that you have to pay for in terms of your study in Canada. And right now we are accepting applications for all 2024 and 2025 intakes. So, like I said a while ago, wala kaming application deadline. As long as the program is open, we can issue your letter of acceptance. And so far, we are one of the fastest in terms of issuance of LOA. So, if by next week, decided ka na to study with us, we can waive your application fee. And hopefully, before mag-close yung school by December 22, we can issue your LOA. Because right now, we are processing LOAs within 4 business days. So if you are really decided to study with us, decided in our program, get the consultation from Secure Visa so that they can help you with both school and study permit application. So I think that's the end of my presentation. I hope you're able to get a good grasp of FANSHAWE College, our locations, our programs, our student services, and most especially how you can start your international student journey with us. Back to you, Anna.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Ina. We appreciate your time with us. Ang dami namin natutunan. And I'm really happy that you're presenting Fansho as not just a school na maraming options, not just a school with a big reputation, pero actually, ang dami nilang student supports. And I think napaka-importante yun, what type of support can the school give you for you to be successful? So really thank you for your time. And if you have any questions to our viewers today, and if you want to address it to the Fanshawe team, the Secure Visa team is offering the links here, which you can get the information from. And I just want to say goodbye to Ina, and then thank you for your time. We hope she enjoys the weekend. And then please don't leave us sa ating mga viewers. We're continuing with our presentation. And again, if you want to learn more about Fanshawe and what the material that was presented by Ina, you can talk to the Secure Visa team on the chat box below. There are links that you can use. At para kung gusto talaga mag-apply, Fanshawe is an excellent option for you. Now, going back to our process of student application, we were talking about bakit maganda mag-aral sa Canada and why it's a good pathway for PR. Ito na yung one of the burning questions is what are the two major investments you need to prepare? Take note, we're talking about investment. Because a lot of people think, if you migrate, it's just like you don't have to prepare anything, you just have to bring yourself. Actually, no, 'di ba? Just like with education, nag-aaral tayo dati. We invest in our education. So doing this to migrate to Canada, you're ultimately investing in yourself. So these are what we would present to you as what you need to prepare. Study permit financial requirements. Number one would be school tuition fee, and number two would be evidence of funds. This is very important. I hope you're still watching now. This at this point, it would be a good time to share this. And if you're watching it offline, you can pause and then review this information we're providing to you. So in case may mga magtanong na loved ones and friends na ano bang information na provide ng Secure Visa sa inyo. So this is it. This kind of helps you be more informed and prepare if you're really taking that study pathway. So what is school tuition fee? Iba-iba po yan, depende kung saan po kayo mag-aaral. Different provinces, different locations, and of course, different types of programs. So if you're taking business or health, and then other options such as provided by FANSHAWE, these are different types of fees that you will be paying. So there could be a 1-year fee or a 2-year fee depending sa inyong program. Now, evidence of funds. Contrary to popular belief, I think I'd like to repeat this every time I present this webinar. Evidence of funds is not just show money. This should be funds that you are showing. I'm sorry, this should be funds that you're prepared enough to be able to prove that you can support yourself, which your tuition fee and your cost of living for yourself and your family if you're coming to Canada. So um, even if you're allowed to work, as we mentioned before, a 20 hours per week work would not be enough to support your cost of living, especially if you're living in large cities, example like Toronto, right? So when you come here, you should be more than prepared to have those funds with you. Now, when you're applying for a student visa, tinitingnan po ito, evidence of funds. Saan ka huhugot ng pera? Ano ang available sa iyo? So these should be readily accessible to you. Now, ano ba mga types of evidence of funds ang pinapakita? Those are your bank accounts, your bank certificates, sometimes your previous certificates of employment showing your salary. Those are things that are evidence of funds. However, since mga Pilipino po tayo, understood naman na we always have our family members to support us. Na-mention din kanina ni Ina from FANSHAWE College, di ba? There are sponsors. If you have relatives, they can sponsor you. So ito yung tinatawag natin na sponsorship. So if you want to add funds and to prepare more for your journey in Canada, you can have a family member to sponsor you, whether they're sponsoring accommodation, helping to provide some cash for you and your family, or even helping you pay for your tuition fee. Tuition fee. Okay, so evidence of funds. So again, this should be readily accessible and it should be from a legitimate source. Now, okay, hindi po dito kasama yung, paano po yun, Ana? Meron akong bahay, meron akong lupa, meron akong kotse, meron akong mga stocks sa stock market. Actually, these are not evidence of funds, but we use them as our ties to our home country. So these are still submitted with your visa application because they prove that you have home ties to your country of origin, which is the Philippines. So you still need to present those documents. More on what do you present, what are the requirements, I believe tinanong po ng isa sa ating mga viewers, ano pong requirements? So that's why the Secure Visa team is including here in the chat box the links where you can communicate with us. Now, more importantly, if you've been following the news, as of this December, there was an announcement by the Minister of Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada, or IRCC, that by January 1, 2024, 3 weeks from now, there will be a change in the financial requirements for international students. I will just go through this really quickly because it's a lot of material, but it will help that you can also read more on this and also discuss this with the education specialists of Secure Visa if you're going to book a consultation. So basically, the idea is the IRCC or Immigration Canada has a set uh, limit or amount, minimum amount that you have to bring if you want to come to Canada as an international student. On top of your tuition fee, you should have X amount of cash, which is readily available for your cost of living. Now, over the past years, this threshold has not changed since the early 2000s. Now, 20 years later, now that more and more migrants have come to Canada, they needed to adjust that threshold to a much higher limit to be able to prepare those international students better when they come here. Kasi, well, take into account inflation. And of course, that was so many years ago, they set that limit. Now, it has to be increased so that it matches what is the current, standing in the market today. Para hindi pagdating ng international student dito, parang magugulat sila, hindi pala enough ang dala nila. So the idea here is You have to be more than prepared, not just with documents, but of course the funds to study so that you can concentrate on studying, finishing your program, and you are not pressured in any way to work or anything to work overtime just to pay for your tuition fee. That, but you have more than enough prepared. So that's one of the things that Secure Visa always wants to bring forward to our clients, hindi lang like academic documents ang piniprepare, it's financial. So more on this will be described to you by the education specialist, but take note, there is a minimum that you have to present as available cash when you're applying for student visa. So this has already been an official statement by Immigration Canada. So again, this protects international students so that when they come to Canada, they can live um, peacefully. They are not prone to abuse or they are not prone to financial hardship. Okay, makes sense? All right. Now, we were talking about visa applications and school applications. So after all of this, minimum possibility na ma-refuse ang visa ko. So yes, it happens. Sad to say, at times out of our control, what is the decision of IRCC, right? Let's describe one of this story of a client who lodged her application by herself. She was a DIY client in March 2022. Na-decline yung visa niya. However, when she availed of the services of Secure Visa, got the consultation, got the guidance and preparation, in a few months, her visa has been approved. So the key here is, you know, Secure Visa will not stop until you get the approval of the visa. If you get a refusal, maybe because of it's a missing document, meron kang hindi na explain ng maayos, we can always revamp your application, make it better, put your best foot forward. So that's one of our commitments to you. Now, nakapag-aral na ako sa Canada, na-finish ko na yung program ko, I already took my post-graduation work permit, I worked for 1 year, I worked for 2 years. Now, for whatever reason, hindi naman ako nag-qualify for PR. Hindi ako nakakuha ng PR. So, is there any other positive thing that I would gain? Well, as I said, mataas ang probability of being a PR if you were an international student with work experience, right? But what if you're in one that very slim margin na hindi ka nag-qualify for PR? You have nothing to lose but everything to gain. Unang-una, meron kang additional school qualification that makes you more attractive when you put it in your CV if you're applying for jobs in the Philippines or other countries, right? And now you've also had worked in Canada, which you will use those work experiences to add to your CV, not just your credentials or your graduation certificate or diploma. You also have the work experiences. Which companies have you been connected with? What type of tasks have you been assigned to? And again, if you had worked in Canada full time, by the time you complete your PGWP duration, let's say 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, nakuha nyo na yung return of your investments yung binayad mo sa tuition mo. So, maaaring nakapag-ipon ka pa dahil nakapag-work ka nga sa Canada ng full-time. Now, other than that, as I said, you gain more skills and made your CV more attractive, and you're now more competitive to get back in the job market, whether it's in the Philippines or abroad, wherever it may take you. Quick recap. So we talked about bakit nga maganda maging student to Canada if you want to be a PR. So we talked about getting the PGWP. You are allowed to work after you study, and then you can also work part-time as a student while you're studying to help with some of your expenses. Now, you can also bring your family, your dependent children, your spouse, and your partner while you're a student here in Canada. And number four, it's the fastest way to come to Canada in 6 months or less. If you're qualified, if you're well prepared, and you've got everything set up, you can come in 6 months or less. Now, as we were talking with our guests from Fanshawe College, we found out, are we qualified? What are the qualifications and requirements? What type of tests are needed if I wanted to apply for a program in Fanshawe College in London, Ontario? We also looked at what type of school offerings they have in Fanshawe. Ano bang mga types of courses ang pwede kong i-take at mga duration nila. So, intake dates, deadlines of when to submit, and when are the next times that I can come to Canada. By 2024, open pa po ang mga programs. So, if you connect with Secure Visa, you can find out more of what Fanshawe College courses will fit your profile. Now, we also talked about the two major investments involved, in which I said it was the tuition fee and your evidence of funds. And more importantly, I gave you that very important update by the IRCC that by January 1, 2024, all the visa applications will have a change in the financial requirements. So please be sure to review this carefully, or if not, ask the Secure Visa team for more details. Now, going back to this slide, we were talking about this quite earlier in our presentation. What was that three-step process from study to PR? Number one, study in Canada, graduate the program from a DLI or designated learning institution, such as Fanshawe College. Whether you take a one-year program or a two-year program, that's your step one. Then you go to step two. After you've completed your program and graduated, you apply for your PGWP, post-graduation work permit, allows you to work for up to 3 years in Canada and gain valuable Canadian work experience. And at the same time, make money to earn money. Now, if you're qualified enough through your school credentials and your PGWP work experience, you can now jump to step three, which allows you to be eligible for permanent residency. Okay. Now, a lot of people we were saying, so if I wanted to do the student pathway, I have the option one, do it on my own. Mamadali ka? Sige. So you can do the DIY. That's what we were talking about earlier. However, option two, which we highly recommend, if you have this advantage, to leave it to the experts who can really guide you. And that's the purpose of this presentation, right? Not just to provide information to you, but to present with you with options. Ano bang mas advantageous para sa inyo kung ito ang gusto nyong pathway? Now, four things you need if you want to succeed. Una-una, figure out not just the school, but what kind of program matches your profile. Sabi nga kanina ni Ina from Fanshawe, hindi ka lang pwede mag-jump to any course. It has to be matched specifically to your profile, whether it's from your previous college degree, or previous university degree, or yung job experience mo and over the past year. Now, secondly, as you're applying for a student visa or your Canadian student visa, you need to convince the immigration officer reviewing your application, why are you deserving or why are you qualified to take the study program? So na-mention niya ni Fanshawe, those are the things you need to prepare. Hindi lang yung mga papers, right? Hindi lang yung funds. I-explain mo how will this study program help you in the future. And number three, that's what Secure Visa is here for. You need a team of experts that can guide you through this process. Now, you should be engaged in a stress-free process because that's what the experts are here for. Now, if you are confused and you don't want to make mistakes, the best way is to be well informed and to prepare. And through that, you can book a free clarity video call with us. Each 30-minute session is free. You can talk with our education specialist through this link below. And it's actually being also pasted by the Secure Visa team in the chat. It's securevisa.com/book. You can ask your questions more closely through our education specialists. So if you're not able to chat it here in the comment section, you can ask it by booking from with our education specialists. You can find out information. We can be able to assess what is your situation about mga migration goals mo. Ano bang bagay na school or program ang pwede mong i-take? And then if you want to bring your family, we'll provide you with that information through this call. Any other questions that you may have, you can ask it here. The time is all yours. Now, if you're a good fit, we can discuss with you how we can move forward your application through the other services of Secure Visa. Again, if you are a good fit, so this is through assessment of your qualifications and your profile, we can offer you our stress-free end-to-end service known as the Secure Student Solution. So just really quickly, end-to-end service, which allows us to serve you better and to help you reach your migration goals in the fastest time possible. So, from educating you, we will recommend the best schools that best fit your program and the best fit your profile and the type of programs that you can take that best fit your profile. We will guide you with the requirements you need when applying for visa. Sinabi nga ng guest natin kanina, you need to get your letter of acceptance from the school. Number one, done. Now, two, you need to get your student visa. How do you do that? So mag-a-apply kayo through Secure Visa. We prepare the documents. We guide you in how to craft your letter of application to the immigration officers. Now, once you've been approved, the process doesn't stop there. We will help you until you fly to Canada and even welcome you as you reach your dream destination. So even then, after you've graduated, and then we can help you with apply for your first jobs and to help you craft your CV. And then eventually we can also help you to become more qualified as you prepare for your PR. So those are things that we can guide you with through the help of our immigration experts and immigration lawyer. All right. Now, these are just some of our clients who have availed of the secure visa services. They have been successfully landed here in Canada and completed their programs. We have solo applicants and we have family applicants who they've already arrived here in Ontario and taken their studies. Okay, so as you can see, the process doesn't just end with finding a school and applying for your visa. So let's take the first step first. You can book your clarity call with us through this link, securevisa.com/book. And then you can ask all the questions that you want with our education specialist. And we can find out if studying and migrating to Canada is a good fit for you and your family. Now, with that, I have reached the end of my presentation. I want to say thank you to all the viewers who have joined us today. And if you have any questions, the Secure Visa team is here. You can chat it on the chat box or send us a message on Facebook or use this link below to book your Clarity video call. Now, once again, I want to wish you all a happy holidays in the next few days, 10 days to go before Christmas. And thank you very much for joining the Secure Visa information session live on FB. And until next time, goodbye.